Believe in yourself or nobody else will. Welcome to the Growth Mindset, episode 13. Today, I want to talk about blueprints, the power of having a blueprint to follow, whether that's in your family, whether that's with your life, whether that's with your business. There's so much power in creating a blueprint and following it. I want to tell you guys a story of where I really learned about the power of blueprints. And it takes us back to my collegiate soccer days. So I played for University of Portland, and for 2 years when I played there, we originally had a coaching staff. It was a good coaching staff. They were good people, but we didn't have this clear blueprint set out in front of us. And in the first 2 years, I think we won like 1 or 2 games. Like, we had atrocious seasons, and they were all crazy games where like we would make it all the way to overtime and we'd end up losing in overtime. And so we had this group of guys who were talented, but they didn't have a blueprint to follow. Then my last year, my senior year, we had a coaching staff change, and a man named Nick Carlinvoid, who has changed my life forever, he came in. And one of the first things that he did, and I remember this vividly, is he did a presentation. And in that presentation, he laid out a blueprint for us. He came in, he said, "Hey, I've watched you guys play the last 2 years. Even though you've only won 1 or 2 games, I see this talent. You've won 1 or 2 games, but 11 of those went to overtime over the 2 years. And you lost by just 1 goal. One moment, one thing." And he came in and he presented to us this blueprint, a blueprint of how we were going to go from being a team that won 1 or 2 games in the last 2 years to becoming WCC champions. And he believed it. When he brought that blueprint in, he believed it, and he had a plan that went into depth of what our culture was going to be, what the work ethic was going to be, what our team energy was going to be, our tactics. He had a blueprint laid out for us, and he instilled that blueprint and the beliefs that were required to execute on that blueprint within us. It was a magical thing to experience, having a leader come in and lay out a blueprint for you to follow. It gave us something to believe in. One of the first things he said is, "Hey, we're going to begin with the end in mind. We are going to take this blueprint. We know we're going to become the WCC champions, and I want you to begin with the end in mind and start working on that every single day." So he came in and he brought us that blueprint, and funny enough, he presented the blueprint, and what happened? It actually came true. So we went from a team that had won 1 or 2 games in 2 years to winning the WCC championship for the first time. We'd have to double check, but for the first time in a very long time. It might have been a 10 or 20 year stint since we had won the WCC. Don't quote me on that. We have to double check, but it was a long time. There was a long dry spell. And what's so wild about that in general is the core of the team. A majority of the team, there were some key players that came in, but if you looked at even the starters on the team, 8 of the 11 starters were the same players that just 2 years ago could only win 1 or 2 games. 8 of the 11, right? So the difference was, yes, some key players, leadership, and a blueprint for us to believe in. And so you can see the power of that. And that gave me, going through that and experiencing that, being last in the league to first in the league with the same core group of guys, and the biggest difference being the blueprint, that changed my life forever. And that showed me the power of creating a blueprint that you can follow and believe in. And so I took that. That's what's so cool about sports is, if you don't even, my original dream was to play at the highest level, right? But I didn't make it. I didn't end up playing professional soccer. But all the life lessons that you learn, you can then pull and take and bring them into your everyday life. When your dream or your passion of playing the game is over, the lessons that you receive within that are not. And that's the power of sports. That's the beauty of sports, the life lessons that you get. So I saw that blueprint, and when it was time for us to build a business, I had to start thinking about how do we create our own blueprint? How do we create our own principles? How do we create something to believe in and go after, something that's difficult? And one of the first steps within that, there's a lot of pieces to the blueprint, but I want to touch specifically on what you believe in, your principles, what you go after, right? And so at Momentasize, because of that blueprint and the magic of it and the execution of it, the reality, going from last place to first place, where the only difference was having a blueprint. A couple key players, leadership, but the same core group, right? Now we had a blueprint to believe in. And so we took that and we created our own principles. There's a lot of pieces, but this is the principal one of what we have. So I just want to talk about them. And it's what we aim to live. Doesn't mean we're perfect at it, but it's what we aim to live. We have a blueprint to follow, something to believe in. So at Momentasize, what we do here is we begin each day with the end in mind. Just like Coach Carlin Boyd, Coach Nick instilled in us, I now use that every single day. So we begin with the end in mind. What do you want? What's the ultimate dream, the ultimate goal? Begin each day with the end in mind. At Momentasize, we also own our problems and create solutions. We learn, we do, we reflect, and we repeat. We simplify without compromise. We build today with the mindset of a 100-year tomorrow. We find positive pivots. We live the growth mindset. That's why we talk on this podcast, right? We live the growth mindset every single day. We bring our best when our best is needed. Another one I pulled from our blueprint. Every time we walked out of that locker room, we had that above the locker room, was the fact that we were going to bring our best when our best was needed. And we do the right thing when nobody's watching. That is something that my parents had instilled in me and continue to talk to me about. I'm not perfect on any of these by any means, but it's a principle we go for. It's what we shoot for, right? And then we create and we love doing it. So these are our principles. These are our guiding principles. This is our heartbeat, things that we work on every day here at Momentasize. And it gives us right here, that gives us cornerstones as we're building our culture and we're bringing people into the team who are going to help grow in the team, build the team. It gives us the blueprint and the guiding principles of how we operate here in this company. And I think that it's so powerful for people to think about doing this exercise, both for your family, for your business, if you have it. And if you don't have a business, guess what? You're the leader of yourself. And so have your own personal principles that you live by, just like we do homemade happiness, right? There's so much power in having a blueprint that you can believe in and that you can follow. So, these here, what these principles are, they're our cornerstones, they're our heartbeat, and they also encompass the entire idea of a growth mindset. So that's what we do here at Momentasize. I would love to hear like other people who listen to this and who believe in the idea of a blueprint. I would love for you guys to share with us what your ideas are on blueprints, what your ideas are on principles like this. And I truly believe in the power of creating a blueprint that you can believe in. Okay, my friends, with that, I hope you guys have a phenomenal weekend. You know that we love you so much. Thanks for tuning in, and we'll see you on the next one.